What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Semeex Football. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the rumors in the news. We're going to talk about Jason Wilcox and his relationship with Jadon Sancho, Rashford, and the Euro 2024 coming up. We're going to talk about a left winger from Brazil that's in the news that we might be linked to. We're going to talk about Roberto De Zerbi and INEOS and how they may be leaning towards him. We'll talk about Jorge Mendes and Sir Jim Ratcliffe meeting up for discussions over Joao Neves. Fingers crossed. And Jeremie Frimpong. He's been linked heavily to us. Something about a low release clause of £34 million, and we're looking for a new right back. Okay, let's jump right in. So the first thing is the Jason Wilcox and Jadon Sancho news. So Jason Wilcox and Jadon Sancho go back to the Man City days, from what I believe or what I've read, and that he would be open for Jadon to return. Now, obviously, the other news is that if Erik Ten Hag stays, then Jadon can't stay. Things like this make me nervous. Things like this make me feel like, okay, so then they must be planning on getting rid of Erik Ten Hag. Obviously, I don't think that INEOS or Sir Jim Ratcliffe are going to make that call until Dan Ashworth is in place. But I have to say I'm leaning towards that they're probably going to get rid of Ten Hag. I don't know if I agree with that or not. To be honest, even I'm on the fence. And the main reason why I'm on the fence is because I want to give this manager more time. I want to give him his last year, try to organize this mess that we're in. I don't think that he had a fair shot this season, obviously with the injuries and with the fact that he never got the right profile players in midfield that he always wanted. Kobe Mainoo came along a little late in the season. He's been doing great, but think if we had that Frankie de Jong that he always wanted. Now, we couldn't get Frankie, that's fine, but we couldn't even go get a similar profile for him, and that's disturbing. If that's what the manager wants, and then you turn around and get him a Casemiro, who's definitely not the same profile as a Frankie de Jong. He's not somebody who's got that best first touch. He's not somebody who's going to kind of quarterback the team. And obviously, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel like Bruno Fernandes cannot be the quarterback of that team. Bruno Fernandes is starting to look like a one-trick pony to me. He gets the ball, he looks for that through pass or the overhead pass, and it's driving me nuts. I know he gets a ton of assists. Anybody who wants to kind of, back him or tell me that I'm wrong, just points out like, hey, he's got more He's got more goal contributions than Kevin De Bruyne. That's great. He's also got a million more turnovers than Kevin De Bruyne. And Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne in a Man City team, Pep's picking Kevin De Bruyne and benching Bruno Fernandes. I promise you that, because sometimes the goal contributions are just not worth how many times he gives the ball away. Because a part of winning the game is also not conceding or not giving up silly chances. And every time we give the ball away as easily as we do, we just concede too many easy chances for people. As you guys know, we give up about 20 shots a game. And guess what? Bruno Fernandes is involved almost every time we touch the ball. So in some way, shape, or form, half our giveaways he's involved in. Because they always look to pass him the ball. As soon as we get the ball back, they're looking for Bruno. So anyway, that's my side of it. If you disagree, if you've got a different outlook, hit me up on Twitter. Here's my handle. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave a comment on this video. Let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll have a conversation about it. But I love Bruno. He's our captain. He's bailed us out a million times, but he gives the ball away too easily. And it was obvious Erik Ten Hag wanted a different kind of quarterback for his team. Somebody who could protect the ball a little bit better, distribute it, and control the pace of play a little bit better. Bruno, that's another thing. Bruno just doesn't know how to control the pace of play at a master level in some games. In some games, he's great. But in other games, you're going like, dude, that pace of play isn't going to work. And he just keeps going with it. Right? Okay. So what was that about? How did I even get there? We were talking about, the Jadon Sancho thing. We were talking about Jadon Sancho and why I think that's another hint that Erik Ten Hag might be leaving is because we're talking about him now possibly staying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just media putting things out in the news so that they can get more clicks. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Wilcox is a fan of Jadon Sancho's, and if that they already know Erik Ten Hag's leaving, he's already thinking about keeping Jadon Sancho around. Now, my doubt is that anyone's actually leaking stories like this to any kind of media. That's why I think this might be all BS, and that the media really doesn't know. They're just creating stories so that they can get clicks. Now, you guys know that Manchester United is the most talked about team in the world. If I can't say the best team or the biggest team in the world right now because we haven't won anything in so long, we're still the most relevant and the most talked about and the one that gets the most click-throughs. That's why The Athletic does a story on Manchester United literally every day. I would say every news outlet is doing a story on Manchester United literally every day. I don't think they do that with any other team. Man City might win another treble. They don't write about them every day, that's for sure. There's just no one wants to read it. No one cares. So that might be a thing, and we have to be careful what we read because you guys know through the years there's always been like really BS stories coming out. This might be one of them. But I wouldn't be surprised, would you? I wouldn't be surprised if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is thinking, let's keep the English kid around. Now, we've also read stories about Jim Ratcliffe not being so impressed with Jadon Sancho's like attitude and the way he behaved. But again, if no one's willing to pay 60, 70 million pounds for him, and we paid north of that, and we're getting rid of Erik Ten Hag, I wouldn't be surprised if we kept him. There was another story in the news about Rashford and his Euro 2024 slot in the team, and that he might lose a spot. And actually, that got me thinking, like, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe Rashford doesn't need to be going to the Euros. Last time Rashford had a summer off where he didn't have to go and play anywhere, the guy put himself through a rigorous training regimen. He came back and scored 30 goals, and that was last summer, basically, before last season. And I guess 2 summers ago. And he was posting videos of himself training like crazy in the United States. And then I believe it was in the United States. And then he came back, and you guys know the story. He scored 30-something goals for us last season. So maybe Rashford taking a summer off and kind of just chilling out for a couple of weeks and then training hard for a couple of weeks before he comes into preseason is exactly what we need from him. And maybe going to the Euros just to sit on the bench while Foden and Jack Grealish and whoever else play isn't best for him, isn't going to motivate him to come back strong next season. He's going to get out of the Euros later, and he's going to want to take a couple of weeks off before he comes into summer to the camp. And he'll be coming back like after having 2 weeks off, instead of just having a couple of weeks off early in the summer and then training hard before he comes into camp, which is what he did, like I said, a couple summers ago, and it worked out great. So I was actually, I hate to say that because I'm sure the guy wants to go, but if you're going to go sit the bench, you might as well have a real vacation and then train hard and get ready for next season. Next season is going to be an important one for us. We got new owners. Hopefully they're going to be spending this summer, and we're going to bring in some reinforcements. Next season is going to be important, I think. It's going to be a big one. Then there were more leaks that INEOS is interested in Roberto De Zerbi. Again, another hint that maybe Ten Hag is on his way out. Maybe he's a dead man walking. Maybe win or lose the FA Cup, he's still gone. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. I just really don't think Roberto De Zerbi is the guy they're looking at. I think that's another one of those media click-driving things. And here's what I want everybody here to think about. Imagine you're a manager and you're out of work. And imagine you had a hot reputation a couple of seasons ago. And then imagine you got a team, a pretty big team, and you didn't do so well, and you got the sack. And now you're unemployed. You've been sitting at home for a while. And a team calls from maybe a smaller league, but definitely a decent league. And that team has the reputation of winning that league fairly often. So now you have a chance to go and rebuild your reputation. You have a real chance to take over a team that has won the league, and you've never won a major trophy as a manager, although you had a hot reputation and now your reputation's in the dumps. You have a chance to go and take over and win a league trophy and rebuild your reputation and come back stronger, and then you turn it down. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have guessed it, and those who haven't, I'm talking about Graham Potter. Supposedly, Graham Potter got offered the Ajax job, and he turned it down. Why would you turn it down if your reputation's in the dumps and you have a chance to go win a league trophy and prove you actually know what you're doing? why is Graham Potter turning down jobs in the first place? And then in the second place, why would he turn down a job where he has an opportunity to win something? It makes me nervous. If that story is true, which it could be because the name Manchester United was not even linked to that story. It was just Graham Potter turns down Ajax job. It was 4 days ago. And I'm sitting here going like, whoa, why would he turn down the Ajax job? This is a chance for him to rebuild his career, rebuild his reputation. My fear is that Dan Ashworth and Graham Potter are talking and that he's been promised a job. Or at least been told that there's a very good chance that you could be Manchester United manager. Is he better than Gareth Southgate? Yes, by leaps and bounds. Gareth Southgate is not that good a manager. All he can do is probably organize the back line. That's about it. But Graham Potter can do more than that. Yes, he can set up teams better. Do I like the idea of Graham Potter taking over? He's not better than Erik Ten Hag. He might come in and he might do more than Erik Ten Hag. But remember, it's because he's going to have better players. He's not better than Erik Ten Hag. His record with Brighton was 134 games managed, 42 wins, 46 draws, and 47 losses. He had more losses than wins. His points per game average is 1.2 at Brighton. You don't even want to talk about Chelsea. He was even worse at Chelsea. So his Premier League record is not good. And his Premier League points per game is less than 1.2. Because at Chelsea, he barely got 1.0 something. He's not a winner. And this is what makes me nervous about INEOS. The thing that makes me nervous about INEOS is we bring in a Dan Ashworth, who's not a winner, and we call him best in class. I have a feeling we're going to bring in a Graham Potter, who's not a winner, and call him best in class. And then we might start doing that with players too. It doesn't just end there, right? Like we might start bringing in players that we're like, oh, look at this guy. We like this guy. He's not good. I hope not. I hope that's not what happens, but it's certainly something to think about. We can't trust them yet. They haven't done anything for us to trust them other than hire Omar Barada, which I really love that hire. But other than that hire, who might have they might have just stumbled upon that because they were looking for a CEO and Barada's agent reached out and said, hey, he'd take the job if you offered it to him. Because I have read a story that sounded like that too, where they literally got word that Barada was available. That it wasn't them looking for Barada. They hired headhunters, I know that, to go look for a CEO. And they may have gotten word that, hey, Barada's available if you guys are interested. And then they looked at his resume and went, oh, yeah, we're interested. Other than that, though, like Dan Ashworth, they didn't hire a headhunter. That's just Dave Brailsford going, hey, that guy's good. He's my friend. I know him. Best in class. I don't know. That makes me nervous. What do you guys think? Get at me. Comment. Let me know. That's where my head is. And that's why I started this channel, to kind of just share my ideas, my thoughts, tell you guys where my head is. That's where my head is on that one. It makes me nervous. I hope Graham Potter is not our next manager. He'd be better than Gareth Southgate, yes. Would I back him? I guess I'd have to back him. I'd have to back Gareth Southgate too. I can't just stop watching. I would have stopped watching a long time ago. We've been miserable for a while. God, I hope it's not Graham Potter. God, I hope they bring a proven winner, somebody who's won something, or at least gotten close to winning something, at least finish in the top 3 every once in a while. Somebody who's done something. Anyway, let's move on. So the next thing in the news was that there was a little rumor from a small outlet that says we're in for a left winger from Brazil, Grêmio's Gustavo Nunes. I don't know how much I believe that. It's something that makes me excited. I've always wanted more South American players in our squad. I've always wanted that. I've always been jealous of teams like Real Madrid and what they do in South America. And I don't even know who Gustavo Nunes is, honestly. He could be really bad for all I know. But if I hear that story one more time, I will go and look up old Grêmio games and watch them, because I have the CBS Sports app, and you can watch Brazil games there. I'd love to go check that out. If anybody knows anything about this Gustavo Nunes and thinks he's worth checking out, let me know. If you guys think he's just nobody and the story's BS anyway, then drop that in the comments too, and I won't bother. But I thought I should at least talk about it because I didn't see it talked about a lot, but I definitely read that somewhere. And then the other thing I read was that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has met with Jorge Mendes, who is the manager of Joao Neves. Now that makes me super excited. I don't know if I've talked about Joao Neves on this channel before. I don't know if I've told you guys what I actually think of him because I've gotten to watch him play about a half a dozen times for Benfica. And every time I watch that kid play, that work rate that kid has is unbelievable. He runs for the full 90 minutes and he gets in there and gets a tackle in like literally every 3 to 5 minutes. He is challenging for duels. And then probably even more often than that. And then when he gets control of the ball, he's got skill. He's got a touch and he's got a pass on him. So I think of him as like Conte with skills. I mean, he literally reminds me of N'Golo Conte. He's everywhere. He's like a little terror. And he's also got skills on the ball better than Conte. I would have killed to have a Conte on our squad, and to have a Conte with skill would be amazing. And I know he's super expensive, but if Ratcliffe is talking to Jorge Mendes, and this is true, and he can work something out and bring in a Joao Neves, I will be super excited. That's one guy I'd love to see on our squad, right behind Kobe Mainoo covering, so that Mainoo can drift forward and back. It would be great to have him next to Mainoo. Now, I don't think it's real for two reasons. Number one, I think that he's too expensive. And number two, I just think that our scouts tend to want more of an athletic body and taller body. And I can see the point there because then we would have no tall midfielders if Casemiro left, except for Scott McTominay. And then you always know how like these managers that come in end up throwing Scott McTominay on the pitch, probably because they look at him and go, well, we need someone in corners. Especially if we start like Lisandro Martinez at center back. If we start Lisandro Martinez at center back, Joao Neves, Mainoo, and Bruno Fernandes or Mason Mount in the midfield, you're literally left with whoever other center back we bring in as your only tall guy for the corners and Højlund. And I just don't see it. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really would love to see Joao Neves in the squad. Let me know what you think. Do you think that athletic bodies are super important in the Premier League? I mean, that's all we keep hearing is that like physicality in the Premier League. And as soon as we signed Lisandro Martinez, how many people were on TV talking about how he's too small to play center back? Do I agree? No, I don't agree. But I do understand a manager who's got his job on the line looking at his squad and going, man, every time we concede a corner, we literally only have that one big guy to try and win that corner. So I don't know. The last thing I want to talk about is the right back situation, and the rumors are that we're looking for Jeremie Frimpong, who's got a buyout clause of £34 million, which makes him really cheap for the caliber right back he is. I don't know if he'd be willing to come to Manchester United after just winning a league trophy and finding out that his manager is not going anywhere, but I think he is interested in coming back to the Premier League, and why not come to Manchester United, especially if he grew up at City's academy. He knows how much bigger we are than City is. He probably has seen how much more Manchester is red. And why wouldn't you want to come to Manchester United if you're interested in coming to the Premier League? I mean, that is a top club. You're going to earn top wages. And I think the fans would love him, to be honest, because he would add a lot of excitement to our forward play. He definitely is a creator from that right back position, something we're definitely lacking, but he doesn't track back that well. So it's interesting to me to look at Frimpong and go, we're interested in Frimpong. But he doesn't even track back that well. Like, that's just not his thing. That brings me back to, and I hate to scare everyone, this guy. If this guy's coming in, Frimpong is right up his alley because a lot of times he likes to play three center backs, which, by the way, might be the other reason why we're linked to so many center backs. We are linked to so many center backs. Todibo, Branthwaite, Tapsoba, everyone, my neighbor, we're linked to everybody. So maybe we're linked to so many center backs because this guy's actually coming in. And if this guy's coming in, then Frimpong's right up his alley. But the problem is, if this guy's coming in and Frimpong's right up his alley, what happens to our wingers? Like, Garnacho is going to have to learn how to play a little bit more inside, more than usual. Rashford is going to have to play a little bit more inside. I don't know, man. It just changes our game plan. I like the Frimpong thing, though. I actually want Frimpong, but I don't want to play a 3-back, formation. So hopefully Potter's not coming in. But Frimpong, I like it. What do you think? I'm in. 34 million pounds. What can go wrong? Even if he's not that good, you didn't waste that much money. We've spent a lot more money and gotten a lot worse. And that's it for today. I got nothing else left on my notes. That's pretty much all the news from the last 2 or 3 days. If I missed something, hit me up. Let me know on the comments or hit me up on X. And we'll talk about it on the next episode. Like and subscribe. See ya.